This is Creepy and Geeky. Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's Minisode, it's time to talk to Donna about the stuff we got into this last week. How's it going, Donna?
Hey, Robert. It is going pretty well. I'm recuperating after last week's election results. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah.
But I'm doing okay, as are, all of us, I guess, the best we can.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So, I'm going to be really 100% honest with you, as I try to be. I didn't get into a whole hell of a lot this week. My head was just not in the space. So I'm going to go first, if that's okay, because I think you have a lot more going on than I do.
I had a few more things going on this week. Not a ton, obviously. I was still like in shock. But like I took some time to just kind of like, it give us a chance, give myself a chance to kind of decompress. And so there was a movie I needed to watch for a future episode that's coming up. And then once that happened, it kind of opened the floodgates. And within the span of like the next 24 hours, I ended up watching like 4 more movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and I haven't watched any movies since, just because I've been busy after that, because I had
Right.
worked the next few days, worked the next couple of days. So it's just I haven't gotten back into it. Plus, I've been having to watch Secret Invasion again for an upcoming for episodes coming out
Oh, okay.
the early part of the next year.
Well,
So
I can just say this. We have movies and we have comics and we have music and we have each other. So we will
yes,
be fine. These things
absolutely,
matter, and having conversations with your friends matter, and hugging your loved ones matter. So,
absolutely.
movies are a huge, huge part of me disassociating.
Well, and I think, yes, sure, disassociating is part of it, but I think we just all we need to take that time to um be ourselves. And
Yeah,
as much as, yes, we have not begun to actually fight yet, we will, but we also need to take that time for ourselves. And I think
yeah.
that's what's most important, is that we take that time for ourselves and understand that we need that time.
I agree.
And
I always tell
yeah,
all of my friends self-care is not selfish. So definitely
right,
take that downtime and watch a good
absolutely.
movie or watch a shitty movie. I mean,
Yeah, watch something that, even if it's just something you've seen a billion times before, watch
yeah,
it if it gives you comfort. That's what's most important, is that we need everybody to be, we need everybody to fight, but we need you to be ready to fight. And if you're not
yep.
yet ready, please take that
Take your
time.
time.
Take your time. Nobody's demanding that you do anything right now. And anybody who says otherwise is don't listen to them. Please.
Anybody
Just
that says otherwise, tell me, and I'll tell them to kick rocks.
yep,
I like to tell
exactly.
people off. I'll tell them to kick rocks. That needs to be my second act, Robert. People need
Yep.
to hire me so I can tell people to go fuck themselves, because I will do that shit all day long. I have no
Absolutely.
qualms.
Yeah, yeah. We're Donna and I are at our advanced age, and we're already at the point where we're just
Speak for
like,
yourself, sir. I am vintage. Advanced. You made me sound like a cavity. What the hell? Gingivitis. Okay,
"Mm."
I'm sorry. So let me just interject. I'm going to jump in and say my one thing so you can say your many things, okay? Do I have the floor?
Hold on. Oh man. Oh, I just wanted to quickly say about that, just in our older age, that, as you know, people who get into the older ages, we stop
Terrible
giving a
way to say
fuck. Shut up. Uh,
that.
I'm allowed
This
to
is
say it
why I
because
love
I'm old too.
you. Oh my God. When we get into our elderly age, go on.
Yes, when we get into our elderly years, we stop caring about like what people feel about us. And we just we start telling it like it is. There's a lot of people who are shitty and tell it like it is, how they see it, but we're not like that, especially Donna and I. We're just like, nah, y'all can kick rocks. It's time for violence.
Get these hands, buddy.
Right?
um,
Anyway, but yes, please have the
but thank
floor now.
you. Let me get my walker and my cane up here.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So the first thing I wanted to kick off and say is that we are in November. This is the Thanksgiving month. So why would we not want to celebrate with face huggers and chest bursters? So Alien Romulus is heading to Hulu for Thanksgiving. So eat a turkey and then you get to see something burst out of a person. Why would you not want to see that?
Yeah. No, exactly. You got to see it.
That was my first blurb. I swear to you, I did not bring a lot. So go on and give us the good stuff since I've been silly for like the last 3 minutes.
We got to be silly. That's one, that's who you and I are as
Of
people in
course,
general. And then two, that's just how we have to, survive. All of
that
this
is
is
true.
we got to keep our humor and we got to, but yes, I actually, like I said, I got to see quite a few movies this week. One in particular at the movie theater, which was the new one with Hugh Grant and Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, and that is Heretic.
I saw that too.
Yay!
The movie,
Finally,
y'all.
you went out to the movies.
It was so great.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
It was such a good movie.
God.
For a movie that's mostly talking, and because it really is, when you really look at it, it's mostly them
Mm-hmm.
talking to each other, mostly Hugh Grant talking. But it's sinister, it's creepy, it's so full of tension and dread, that it literally rocketed into my top 10. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
it's
lie,
definitely
it's
in
on
my
my top
top
10 for
10.
the end of the year. So,
That atmospheric
oh,
creepiness, the tension,
so good.
the mind games. There's not too much. I don't want to say too much about it, but
Yeah.
everything is so methodical in this movie, and it definitely is one. I saw this with the whole family. We are going to be talking about this for months
Mm.
just because my husband is very much a spiritual person. He always is on a quest to find. And when we didn't tell him about this movie and he saw it and he was like, ooh, this is kind of scary right now. There's certain things that were kind of broken down and then he was just kind of the light bulb. We could see the light bulb
Yeah.
going out. But outstanding performance by Hugh Grant.
Oh,
My God, I don't think I've ever see him play such a villainous monster.
oh man. And it just like, here's the thing. He's been playing those lovable cads, those guys who are kind of
Stammer and they're
assholes.
charming and
Yeah,
yeah,
but they're charming assholes. And so it's like it's always been there in his repertoire, but nobody gave him the ability to do it. And it's so good to be able to see him do something like this, knowing that that level of performance was always there.
stellar performance.
So
There's
it's
so much
so good. Oh
malice
man.
and
If the
evilness behind
if
his
the
eyes.
Oscars were fair to horror, we would be seeing Hugh Grant and Demi Moore in the awards this year.
Yeah,
But I
we
doubt we're going to
we
see
said
that
that
kind of
exact
stuff.
same thing when we left the
Yep.
theater. We were like,
Yep.
He needs to be nominated. This
Yeah.
role was just it was it got under your skin and it
Oh
definitely is one
man.
to make you
Yeah.
ponder a lot of things that people believe.
Yeah. No, it was really
Yeah, it was
good.
an outstanding film.
Yeah.
A20, I'm always going to be A24, like, I guess, whore at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, but really, it was an
Yeah.
outstanding film. I'm not, and
No,
I'm not one
absolutely.
to hype films up, but I cannot wait to own this one just so that I can
Hmm.
pour over it again.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some good behind the scenes featurettes and stuff like that too. Maybe a commentary that kind of breaks down their thoughts and stuff on it. So, and
The one thing,
this is by the guys who wrote the original A Quiet Place as well. So,
right. One thing I will say, not to give anything away, but horror movies have just ruined pop songs for me now. So I will never hear The Air That I Breathe or Creep or any, I can't
yeah,
unhear it now because it's going to
yeah,
take me right back to this movie.
yeah. No, it was really good, really good. Yeah, and you'll understand. what she's talking about when you see it, because it's,
Yeah,
ooh, buddy. So
it's in my head now. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm glad that we both got to talk about briefly that movie, because my God, if you guys haven't seen it, please go see it.
yeah, absolutely. All right. What's your next thing?
Oh, so it's something really small. I don't know if a couple of months back, I did my, oh gosh, I forgot, August Down Under. I did a bunch of Australian and New Zealand movies, series. One I didn't talk about, and I wish I had, was a 2006 film, New Zealand horror comedy called Black Sheep. I don't know if you've ever
Mm,
seen that. Have
I've
you seen that
heard
one?
of it, but I haven't seen it.
It is absolutely hilarious that we have zombie sheep in this horror film, and there is a person in the film who has a unnatural love for sheep. I will just leave it there. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get too graphic
Yeah.
with it. However, this film was made in 2006, and now they have production that's going to be starting around March or April for the sequel.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
cannot imagine what this is going to be like. But if you have
Jeez.
not heard or seen Black Sheep, and not the Chris Farley
Yeah, yeah.
jokey one, we're talking like a New Zealand horror movie, watch that one, because it is one of the most riotously funny films that you will ever see. I don't know how they made Zombie Sheep hilarious, but it is. It is
Yeah.
definitely funny. Um, Also made me not want to eat meat for a while after I saw
Yeah.
it, but that changed. But yeah, they're getting a sequel. So New Zealand horror, I feel, is one of the most underrated type of horror that's ever made. They
Right.
go all the way out there with the gore and the nuttiness, and just I just happen to love them. I think they do a great job. So that was my other little blurb.
All right. I also watched a few movies at home over the course of those couple of days. One of those movies was Time Cut, which is the new one that was written by Michael Kennedy, who also wrote Freaky and It's a Wonderful Knife, which are both good movies. Time
Mm-hmm.
Cut Time Cut is a good movie. It's not terrible. I'm probably the only one, like I've seen other people bash it and everything like that. I'm probably one of the few people who actually appreciated it. It's not a great movie, but it's a good enough movie. It's very similar to a movie that got made afterward but came out before it did, called Totally Killer.
Totally killer.
Yeah, so Totally Killer is a much better movie. Um, so I'm not sure kind of how with the extra time they had, like, but the movie had gotten made and it got shelved. Um, it was like made and shelved before Totally Killer got made
Mm-hmm.
and came out. So it's just it's very similar tone. Well, not in tone, but in the overall story. Just time travel slasher movie. But it's and this one's just it's a little too tame. Most of the kills are off screen.
Really.
Yeah. But overall, I thought the story was good. It was cute. There's some definitely some good moments in it. I feel like it's worth a watch. Just know going in that it's not super good. But it's just, to me, it was good enough. And
I think it's
it was
funny
entertaining
too.
enough.
I think it's funny too with Totally Killer. She is in our timeline, and she goes back to what, the 80s, right? It's
Right.
like,
Yeah, the 80s.
and then in
Yeah.
this one, she's only going back to what, the
Yeah, she goes
2003.
back to
Like, oh, that's
2003.
so
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's 21 years ago.
I
So
know,
it
but
really is a long time ago, really, when you think about it. It doesn't feel
my
like it to
gosh.
us, but yeah, but it definitely, they play up a lot of that stuff too, about like, what the fashion and what things were like back in 2003. So it's, pre like smartphone era and everything. So it's definitely has its fun moments. It's Totally Killer is definitely the better movie. They managed
Hmm.
to pull that off a lot better. But this one is still worth a watch, I feel. I
Well,
think
that's
they
good. I
they
mean,
could
if
have
it's a fun
definitely,
watch, I'll definitely check it
yeah,
out.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, not as bad as other people are saying it is. So I mean, but just know going in, it's not as good as Totally Killer. So I also did see a movie called Hostile Dimensions, which is a like a found footage, low budget movie about a couple of filmmakers who discover this video of a guy whose friend went through a door into another dimension and um wasn't able to come back. Like he lost the friend through there, and he was trying to figure out how to get her back. And so they were kind of investigating the door. And it opens every time they open it and close it, it opens onto a different reality. And so it's super low budget. The effects are really low budget, and everything, but it was really to me, it was really fascinating. It was, as somebody who loves, multiverse style stories,
Mm-hmm.
um it was a lot of fun. It's very interesting. It leaves the ending leaves it open for a potential sequel. But yeah, no, overall it's very interesting, very fun, low budget found footage movie.
I have to put that on my list. Hostile
Yeah.
Dimensions.
Hostile Dimensions. I had to rent it. It wasn't available on streaming anywhere, so I had to rent it. But it was worth the rent for sure. And the only other thing that I watched was that movie, the new Samara Weaving movie, Azrael,
Mm-hmm.
on Shudder. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it quite a bit. Samara Weaving, of course, is awesome in it.
Right.
Especially once she manages to start kicking ass. Um, but I don't know. It kind of dragged in places. Like kind of in the beginning slash middle, I guess. It kind of dragged a little bit, but once it started getting going, it was
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was weird not hearing anybody talk,
Yeah.
dialogue free for the most part.
Which I
Um,
didn't know going into it that it was. I just thought it was like
yeah,
just a post-apocalyptic thing, and ended
yeah,
up being that halfway through the movie, it didn't even matter. I barely
yeah. No,
even
it
noticed.
yeah, yeah, the story's compelling enough that you don't really notice. Now, here's the thing, because it doesn't tell you a lot um of background. There's a little bit of
Hmm.
background the movie tells you, but there's not a lot. And I feel like there was so much more lore involved in that because it doesn't tell you it, you want more from it. That's kind of the
Hmm.
only thing that that's the only thing that really frustrated me with it, was that I just wanted more knowledge about what was going
Yeah.
on.
Well,
Especially
I
with the
won't.
stuff happening at the end.
Yeah,
So
I won't spoil it for you. I do feel that I agree with you at the end. I wanted to know more of what was going to happen.
yeah.
Um, And then for the community of people that she was in that weren't talking,
Yes.
and I'll talk to you more about it after we record this because
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I wish we had gotten more exposition on what made them come to this decision. I mean, they kind of give you a
Yes.
little bit of it, but not really a whole lot. So the
Yeah.
pacing could have been better. However,
Yes.
you're completely right. Once Samara Weaving gets into her whole, I'm killing everybody
Yeah. Yeah.
mode,
Yeah.
it was really interesting to see women being so much the violent force. Like the
Yeah.
men were doing stuff, but no, it was a lot of women that were doing
Yeah.
most of the killing in this movie, and I was stunned beyond belief and gaga about it. Um, yeah, that movie was great. It rocked. Samara Weaving, she's just the best horror darling ever. I hope she stays in this genre forever.
Yeah. No, that's my hope too. Is she's one of those forces in horror that I would love to see her stick around, and she seems to love it and promote it very well and everything. So when you get actors like that, and I'll talk about somebody specifically here in a little bit, that um are so positive in the field of horror, and they spend a lot of their time in it and
Hmm.
promoting it and everything like that, you really cherish that, because horror is looked on as a shit genre by so many people, that it's disappointing, so especially by people who come into it and then make their name and then leave. and then
Right.
never look back, and you're just like, wow, you're kind of a jerk, but and I get it, maybe horror wasn't their thing, they were just using it as the stepping stone to get into where they really wanted to be, and that's
But like you
fine, it's
said, the
whatever.
ones that do
But you
embrace it,
really,
like
yeah,
what's the one actress, and I always
Barbara
mess up her name. Is
Crampton.
it? I'm thinking
Oh,
Micah Moreau.
oh, Michael Monroe, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, starting out with The Guest, and then
yeah,
you see her in Long Legs, and it's like
It
she's
Follows, and yeah,
fully embracing all of this, and she's great at it. I mean, every genre of horror that she's been in is fun, and it's great, and it's
yeah,
interesting, and it's fresh and inventive.
yeah,
And definitely Barbara Crampton. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
are you kidding
No,
me?
yeah, no. Barbara Crampton's like so positive, and like she even like kind of like left for a while. Like she left the industry as a whole,
Mhm.
and then comes back, and then came back not only to act again, but also to start producing, using her name in the horror genre to actually help new filmmakers get their movies made by starring in them and producing them and everything. So it's like fantastic that she does that now. I love it. But yeah, no, it's great. I do
Mhm.
want to, since we're talking about it, I do want to talk briefly about it, about somebody that was a very positive force in the horror sphere, but we lost him this week, and that was Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just what a bad ending to a bad week.
It was a bad week. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
was.
just losing Tony Todd. I only met him once, very briefly, at a horror convention here in Georgia, and it was a very positive thing, and I had heard nothing but great things about him and saw nothing but great things. The outpouring of love for him after it was announced that he had died was like insane. I've
Mhm.
never seen anybody, no matter how beloved they were, get so many people talking about them.
Mhm.
And it's just amazing. And he was, like we've talked about on the podcast before, you and I talked about Candyman, that, being one of the biggest, and like, being the first black slasher, and everything,
Mhm.
that, it's he made an indelible mark on horror and in film in general. And that can't be replaced. It's just it was a sad end to a sad week,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and you're
Um,
absolutely right. It's like post after post after post about people on how they met him and how
yeah,
nice he was and how he would sit and talk to his fans for a long time, and he was just, a warm person. And even the people who worked with him, I mean, they just said that he was such a light, and, just a wonderful human being to boot, on top of being the star and also being in all of these horror movies. Candyman, obviously the most iconic one, and people, myself, I'm not gonna say people, because I even forget sometimes that he was in The Crow as Grange,
yeah,
the right hand man of the bad guy in the movie. And I just thought, you know he left this mark, 6'5" and tall, and that gravelly voice,
yeah,
that voice that just would melt you. you know um they could not have casted a better person for that role of
no,
Candyman, because he brought all of this Shakespearean regalness to a character who was tormented and sad, and
yeah,
we all fell in love with him. And and seeing him in countless other movies, it's just the kind words they said about him. Like you said, I've never seen such an outpouring of all of these fond memories for this man who probably had no idea that he left this huge of an imprint on all of the horror people. And that's one thing I'll say about the horror fans in general. They really come together and they really appreciate these people, especially when you meet one that's so nice and, just has this air of, yeah, you can talk to me. I'm just an ordinary person, but in our head we're thinking it's Candyman.
yeah,
It's sweet. It's sweet to see all of these pictures and all of this, hear all of the words and hear about things that he did. And yeah, he's definitely going to be missed. That's a shame in our horror community, and
yeah,
definitely not a great ending to this week. But I
no,
know his family is probably so overwhelmed by all of the love that he's getting right
Yeah.
now, you know?
Yeah, and that part of it was good to see. Like it was a shock and not a great way to end the week, but seeing the outpouring of love for him definitely helped a lot with that. So that part was at least a nice positive that came out
Hmm.
of it. So,
It really was.
but all right. Well, what else did you bring me today on that note?
Well, since I brought up, why am I always wanting to mess up her name? Micah Monroe. I always want to
Yes.
say Micah. I will butcher somebody's name in a heartbeat. Y'all should be using that right now.
Right.
But however, she is, and I hope you haven't heard about this, but she's set to star in a film called Brides. And
Oh,
Chloe Okuno, I think she
okay.
worked with her on a movie called Watchers back in
Watchers. Yeah.
2022. So the film is set in 1960s Italy. Micah is traveling there with her husband, and they go to a remote villa. And the villa's owner is a mysterious count. I'm assuming he's some
Yeah.
kind of Count Orlok kind of guy. But he starts becoming infatuated with her. This is just the story. Unfortunately, there's no trailer yet.
Right.
But apparently, he gets more than he bargained for because Sally is, it's 1960s, so she's starting to have feminist views, and she kind of passes this on to his current brides. So I'm assuming it's going to be kind of interesting to see, the brides kind of standing up for themselves and not wanting to do his bidding.
Yeah. No, it sounds cool. Yeah. No, anything with her is generally really good to
She's
watch. So I'm
good.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
And they do have an It Follows sequel coming up with her as well called They Follow.
They
So,
follow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. All right. Well, all I have left are some trailers. I'll go ahead and start with one of the newest ones. We got a brand new trailer yesterday for the new Captain America Brave New World, which looks fantastic. I've always loved the that part of the MCU that was like the Captain America, Black Widow, kind of the like the shadow ops kind of side of
Mhm.
things. So seeing more of that is always fun. Both this and Thunderbolts both had new trailers that came out this week, just yesterday, as we're speaking, which would have been Saturday. Um, so and they both kind of like are both in that world. So they were kind of nice little companion pieces for next year. But Captain America Brave New World, like the trailer, like it was always going to be timely with a black man becoming Captain America and being a symbol for
Mhm.
America. Which they kind of touched on in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series. But this is going to become even more timely. I feel like there's definitely some stuff in this movie that's going to like speak to our new reality. And so I have a feeling that it's going to be really good for that.
Mhm.
And no, but it's an exciting trailer if you haven't seen it yet.
No, I
Definitely
haven't. I
good.
have to
Oh
watch it
yeah.
right after we finish talking.
Yeah, no, it's really good. There's a lot of stuff going on in it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So, and then like I said, Thunderbolts, also new trailer came out. It doesn't tell you a whole lot more, but you get a little bit look at all the characters, um, some more, especially Yelena and Winter Soldier and stuff. Um, so it's that looks like it's gonna be a more fun movie, more like, not as obviously both of these movies are going to be fun. They're action adventure movies, but this one just looks like it's going to be a little bit more silly and not take itself as seriously. So which would be great. I mean, with this cast it's going to be fantastic. So but yeah, no, check both of those out. They both just came out yesterday on Saturday. So
Oh, good. I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm gonna have to check those out.
Yeah, no, they're definitely cool. All right, what else you got for me?
That's it. That's all I
Oh,
have.
okay. All right. Well, then I have one more trailer to talk about. The new Star Wars: The Skeleton Crew TV series is coming, and with it came a new trailer this last. Well, I think it actually came out before we talked last week, but I forgot to add it in. So,
Oh, okay.
this looks like, and I think we've previously talked about it. It looks like a fun kind of 80s esque, like Spielbergian, um, romp through space. It's like a bunch of kids who get stuck on a spaceship that takes off and takes them to galaxies far away. Oh no, not galaxies, but planets far away. And they get entangled into some adventures. So it's very much feels like an old like 80s, like I said, 80s kind of Spielberg type stuff, but kind of with overtones of like the Ewok adventure movie. So it's got kind of that feeling of more of the kind of the silly side of Star Wars. So I'm hoping people won't take it super seriously.
When I
Because
saw it, I
yeah,
thought of Space Camp immediately. If you've
yeah,
ever
no,
seen that
space,
80s
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, no, so it's definitely got that space camp vibe. It's like, they're using the song in the trailer is obviously Major Tom.
Hmm.
But it's done with like alien lyrics, I guess. And so it's familiar yet different. Because I know there's a lot of people are like, ugh, using a pop song in a Star Wars. People, you got to get over it. It's like it's things aren't the way Star Wars were when you were a kid in the 80s. Get over it. Times have changed. It's time to move on. Let's just enjoy it for what it is, and let's just have some fun.
And plus, it might
Um,
be a way to have younger people seek out that song and the music and,
right?
just let everybody live a little. Jesus.
It's just the weirdest thing. Everybody like is such a little, dour like butthead. Like just let it go. Like have some fun. Like, and that's the thing. They act like Star Wars is like always supposed to be this like, oh, so serious and everything like that. And it's like, y'all didn't really pay attention to what Star Wars was like.
No.
Like, not just the movies, sure, they were kind of serious-ish, not really that serious. I mean, they were Ewoks for Christ's sake, and fucking
They're killing stormtroopers with sticks.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then we got the Ewok movies, we had the cartoons in the 80s, we had all kinds of stuff that was just so over the top and silly. I mean, it's just I guess because like people over the years didn't like interact with that material, they didn't
Hmm.
realize just how silly Star Wars can be. And I'm just like, let's go, let's have some fun with it, let's stop being so serious about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I like stuff like Andor and everything like that, but like if everything was like all super serious like Andor, I'd be so bored. It'd be like okay, I like it ish, but
Exactly. Be
like
like, again?
but it's the same thing all the time. That's why I like
Again
what
with the
the
morose. Why are we
yeah,
always so morose?
and that's what I love about like the MCU too, is like it's always changing and doing things. Yeah, sure, I like this stuff that's like the Captain America and Black Widow area of movies, but I love the weird Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man shit too. Like I love it all because it's all weird and having fun, and you get a little bit of something like different each time. It's not always the same. Because if it was all the same, it would get boring. You would get fatigue. And so when it's not, when it's different and changes it up, it's more fun. Just have fun, people. That's all
You
I'm
just
saying.
have fun
Stop
with it, man.
stop
Just
being so serious about things, man. It
life is
doesn't
not permanent. This is a ride, and I'm gonna have
right
fun on this ride as long as I
right
can.
same.
However, if you have not seen I don't know what year this movie came out, Space Camp, watch
Yes,
Space
it's in
Camp
the
before this
80s.
comes out because it's very similar.
Yeah.
The idea,
Yeah.
these kids, being in a NASA program, and then they actually take off in a rocket, and
Yeah.
it's it's funny, it's cute, and like you said, there probably are going to be some serious moments in
Yeah.
this show too,
Well, and
but
if you like Joaquin Phoenix, it's got a real early performance by him when he was a kid, and his name was Leaf Phoenix.
leave.
So
Oh my gosh, I'm so
check
glad
that
I
out.
didn't have hippie parents. Am I?
Oh my God, right? So weird.
Donna is as boring as it gets. I love my name, but my kids are they all have very boring names. But yeah, that's literally, I didn't have anything else. I'm done.
I am done as well. So why don't you let people know what you've got coming up on your podcast this week?
So I will be honest with you. I have bupkis coming up this week because I
What?
needed a week off. I have to take a week off. It
Wow.
was just a bad week, and my
Yeah.
head was not in the space.
No, I
Now,
agree.
having said that, I am making myself a big fat ass liar on your show. Because I probably will make a very short episode talking about Tony Todd and all of the things that he's done, because that's been in the back of my head. But if I don't, y'all won't sue me. But that's probably going to happen sometime in the middle of the
by
week.
the time you listen to
drop an
this, you'll
episode.
know anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah, you'll know by the time by the time this comes out, you'll know.
Yeah.
But honestly, I didn't have the energy. I need to regroup
I
and get my
feel ya.
head back in a good space before I start talking, because I feel like I'm going to start talking about politics, and I don't want to do that again. So
Yeah, no, and I feel like I like, and that's one of the benefits I think I have of, you know, being able to talk to you every week, is that at least with this, I can look forward to like talking to you and having some fun. And even if we get into kind of some heavier topic like we did, that at the very least, you know, we're still having some fun with it. And,
yeah.
you know, if I had to do this by myself, I have a feeling that, yeah, I probably would have, you know, and this is the thing, like last week's episode came out late on Wednesday because I was so just immediately drained that I totally forgot to edit and put it out that day. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I totally didn't do anything. I need to, you know, quickly get this done. And, you know, but I ended up getting it put out that night and everything. But yeah, I was just, whew, yeah, that was the immediate aftermath of that. I was just like, I can't deal with that.
So, I mean, by the time this drops, I probably will have already dropped a small episode talking about the great Tony Todd. But if I don't, like I said, don't at me.
Oh, I'm gonna at you.
You are not. Don't play with me. At the very least, we are at least entertaining each other and everybody else that listens to our nonsense. So.
Exactly, right? I hope we're entertaining everybody else with our nonsense. Otherwise, it's just us. And you know what? That's fine too.
It's kind of like you said, we Generation X. Oh, whether you like it or you don't, I don't give a shit.
Absolutely. Oh man, that's too good. Yeah, no, yeah. We're entertaining ourselves. That's all that really matters when it comes down to it. I hope we entertain everybody else, but if we don't, so that's all that matters. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on as you do every week. And you know, I can't wait to have you on next week. And we'll see you then. And until then, stay creepy. Thanks for listening. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. Music for the podcast is Gratitude, composed by Harper Smith. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.